Here at the studio in Portland, in our Portland studio, we have a Keurig. Keurig, is that how it's said? Keurig? Keurig? K-E, it's a German word. Keurig, I guess would be how you'd say it auf Deutsch. Coffee maker. And you can get the little, you can get actually recyclable organic coffee in recyclable pods. And so you can make your coffee quickly. In fact, this morning, there's another talk show host who's got a war going on with Keurig. And, you know, I'm kind of supportive of Keurig at this point. In fact, I suggested to Louise this morning, moved it into our Amazon cart, in fact, that we get one and you know, put it in just a little 1-cup maker and set it in the bathroom upstairs. So, you know, make a cup of coffee in a hurry, right? Good time to think about stuff like that. Anyway, Beverly in McHenry, Illinois. Hey, Beverly, what's on your mind today?
Hi, Tom. Thank you for taking the call. I want to make one sort of advertising statement on taxes, and then I want to ask for your help to help me and maybe others understand this complex issue. It goes way over my head. But number one, on this tax thing, wouldn't it be an easier way to market opposing it by saying, why, when all the tax cuts are for large corporations, why aren't all the costs and deductions also going at their end instead of spreading it down the way?
Well, we're actually...
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, and we're not closing loopholes. We're actually giving new loopholes to businesses. You know, more rapid ability to depreciate equipment, for example. You know, it's crazy. Beverly, this is this should appropriately be called the Republican tax scam, because it's a scam. I mean, you had, in fact, it's hang on just a second. There's the numbers on this. I'm not sure where I've got it. It may take me a little bit to find it, but the bottom line is that back in the 1950s and 60s, corporations were paying about 1/3 of the total freight to run the federal government, because corporations, you know, among the biggest beneficiaries of the federal government. If it weren't for the federal government, there would be no corporations. They wouldn't be able to do business. They wouldn't have money. They wouldn't have courts. They wouldn't have, you know, everything. You know, rules of the road. And now they're paying about 10, 11, 12%. It's radically dropped. And so that's what's going on. Did I answer your question, or did you even ask a specific question, Beverly?
No, that was just sort of a mention. Question-wise, if maybe you can dissect for me and other average people, I get lost in this overseas stuff. I take it, if I'm correct, there's a couple of issues. There's one when they stash money overseas, but there's also something different about corporations that merge or incorporate in other countries because of getting a better rate. And what I'd like to hear that I don't, in these other countries that have lower rates, how does that stand for an effective? Do they get all the deductions that they get here? I mean, where's the equivalent that we don't ever really hear about?
Yeah, here's how it works, Beverly. Let's say that you and I own a company that makes, say, smartphones. And we want to make them overseas because it's a whole lot cheaper and we can make more money selling them here in the United States. And here in the United States, our company, which is where our company is incorporated, our company would have to pay, you know, the average corporate tax, the effective corporate tax in the United States is around 18.1%. It's a little lower than most European countries, a little higher than a few other countries, but, you know, we're kind of in the middle worldwide, what corporations actually pay. But still, it's 18%. But if we set up a subsidiary corporation, a second individual corporation that we also own, but it's a separate company, and that company is incorporated, say, in Bermuda, and that company has offices, say, in China, and that company then goes out and subcontracts with the company to make our smartphones. And let's say that here in the United States, our company, Beverly and Thom Incorporated, our company is going to sell our smartphones for, let's say, $1,000 each. But it only costs us, let's say, $25. Let's say it costs us $100 to make them, okay? Just to keep the numbers real even. It costs $100 to manufacture one of our smartphones in China. So our company that is incorporated in Bermuda, where there's no income tax, right? No corporate tax. You make a profit, you keep it all. Our company, which is incorporated in Bermuda, which is doing business in China, contracts with a factory in China to manufacture these phones that cost us $100 a piece to make. We're going to sell them to the public at $1,000. Our company then, and we'll call that company Beverly and Thom's Phone Manufacturing Company in China, okay? Beverly and Thom's Phone Manufacturing Company in China makes, contracts for the phones, has got a million phones that they now need to sell to Beverly and Thom in the United States so that we can sell them for $1,000 a piece to our customers. Are you with me so far, Beverly?
I am.
Okay, so here's where it gets really tricky. Here's where it gets really slick. Phone cost $100. Our company, now we've got two companies. And what we want to do is we want to keep all the profit in the company that's based in Bermuda, that's doing business in China. We don't want any of that profit to come to the company, or very little of that profit to come to the company here in the United States. So we sell, and we're going to sell the phones for $1,000. So we have the company that operates in China that you and I own, that is incorporated in Bermuda. We have that company sell them to us. We're selling to ourselves, essentially, but we have two companies. Sell the phones to us for, say, $950 a piece. So here in the United States, when we sell them for $1,000, we make a $50 profit that we pay an 18% tax on. But the company that's operating in China, that's incorporated in Bermuda, that pays no taxes, that you and I also own, that company shows an $850 profit on every phone that we sold to ourselves. So all of our profits are kept offshore in Bermuda banks for our activity in China. This is how it's done. And then every 10 or 15 years or 20 years or so, the Republicans come along. George W. Bush did it. Ronald Reagan did it. They come along and they say, we're going to do a one-year window where you can bring back all those billions, hundreds of billions of dollars in profits that you've got stashed overseas at only, I think Bush's last one was a 5% tax rate. I think Reagan's was around 10%. They're talking about now 10%. You can bring that money back at a very, very low tax rate. And it'll be a short stimulus to the economy, in theory anyway. At least it'll reduce our debt for a short while. But mostly it just, allows these companies to recover their money. If that doesn't happen, if the Democrats succeed in fighting it, now you and I, Beverly, we've got hundreds of billions of dollars stashed in this bank in Bermuda, but we can't spend that in the United States because it's pre-tax dollars, from a Bermuda-based company. We have to somehow get that money into our hands in the United States because we want to build a new factory in Dubuque, Iowa, or a new packaging, an assembly place where we'll take those smartphones we're buying from China and we'll have, Americans put them in boxes and package them so we can say assembled in the United States, right, which will help sell them. So we want to build this new factory. Well, where are we going to get the money? We've got $100 billion sitting in Bermuda, but that's sitting in Bermuda. But we need, say, $20 billion to build a factory in Dubuque. How do we do that? We simply borrow the money against that $100 billion we've got sitting in the bank down in Bermuda and pay 1% at it, for it. And it's a very safe loan. Anybody in the world will loan us the money. And with that, we make the whole thing work. So, it's a very, very straightforward process, a very simple process. Make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. But then let me ask, by them lowering the tax rate, that doesn't really stop what you just described, does it?
No. In fact, there was a law that was passed in the first year of the Obama administration in 2009, in the summer of 2009. Nancy Pelosi passed legislation out of the House of Representatives that would have ended the ability of companies to do this. It passed the House of Representatives. And by the way, it did two things. Number one, it wouldn't have completely ended it, but it would have made it much more difficult for companies to do what I just described. And secondly, it would have provided tax incentives to companies to bring their manufacturing back to the United States. In other words, it would have added deductibility for bringing your company back. Right now, companies get a tax deduction if they ship their jobs offshore. We actually have a tax code that encourages companies to ship jobs offshore. Nancy Pelosi got legislation through the House of Representatives that reversed that, literally reversed it, shifted the incentives away from shipping it offshore and to bringing it back to the United States. It passed the House of Representatives. It went to the Senate. It got more than 50 votes in the Senate. There's 100 senators. The Constitution says when a majority of senators vote for something, that's it. It wins. But the Senate has this rule called the filibuster, and which says that you've got to have 60 votes to pass something if a Republican objects. And sure enough, Republicans objected. They did not want an end to this corporate scam that's being done by their donors who are demanding now this tax break. And so, yeah, we could fix this real easily. This is a structural problem. This is what, where Donald Trump went over to China and Asia, and he's yelling, "Bad Chinese, you guys are ripping us off." No, they're not. We're ripping us off. It's the Republicans who are ripping us off. Pelosi and Schumer tried to put an end to this, and then the Republicans filibustered it. It's very, very simple and very straightforward. And now they're marketing this tax scam, which is going to further cut the taxes on big corporations and billionaires. They're marketing more than half of all the benefits of this are going to go to fewer than 1% of the people. That's like a 50-to-1 load, on the benefits. And what's so sad is they've got a bunch of billionaires who are spending $45 million to buy advertising, which no doubt you are seeing on television right now, Beverly, which is highly deceptive, saying, "Hey, don't worry about what the billionaires are getting. You're going to get a little bit of money." It's probably not even true. Beverly, thanks for the call. We'll be right back.